The two major floods were created by warm weather along sections of the Rocky Mountain front, causing storms to lift over the mountains, creating devastating flash floods that inundated Calgary and Boulder. It's not impossible Bitterroot and other ranges west of the divide could see flash flooding if storms with extreme heavy rains hit western Montana. However, experts say the likelihood of those conditions is reduced by geography, giving us a zone of protection. But like Colorado, much of the upper Bitterroot watershed has been hit hard by recent fires. However, the Forest Service sends in bare or burned area emergency response teams to evaluate flash flood risk using field checks and satellite data.
We're supposed to have an assessment done and a request in for any needed funding within a week. And we look at the value of the infrastructure on the land and the potential risk, the resources, and roads, trails, anything of value to us.
And burns have contributed to flash floods before. Several homes were damaged on Laird Creek right after the 2000 fires. But Snook says that risk is often localized, diminishing downstream.
In the case of a large watershed like the Bitterroot River, the farther you go downriver, the more likely it is that the fire has burned only a small portion of the watershed. And therefore any post-fire flood response is going to be diluted by all that ground that's growing healthy grass, timber, anything that can soak up water.
At the Ravalli County Department of Emergency Management, officials have access to a number of plans dealing with everything from runoff to flash flood potential and even the risk for one of 13 dams to fail.
Every year we assess what we might be looking at. The Weather Service works with us, and if we know for sure that we're going to have some problems, we gear up the sandbag program.
They say fire and water don't mix, but for Bitterroot residents and emergency responders, the experience of evacuating from wildfires could come in handy.
It's in the sheriff's hand, of course. He's got all of his men trained, and they know how to do that. They do it very well. They've got to have a plan, what they're going to take with them, who they're going to take, animals involved, where do we move them.
And as the valley develops, keeping all risks in mind is really a best practice.
First of all, find out, is there anything up above in the way of a dam? Because we do have several high hazard dams here in the valley. Those are the kinds of things I would be looking for.
On special assignment, Dennis Bragg, MTN News.